Discover the 4 biblical prophecies coming true in 2024. Have you ever stopped to think if biblical prophecies are actually coming true today? In a world full of uncertainties and chaos, it's natural to seek answers that bring some sense to all of this. What if I told you that some of the most intriguing and powerful prophecies in the Bible are unfolding right before our eyes? Yes, 2024 might be the year when many of these ancient predictions finally come true. It sounds controversial, doesn't it? After all, we are talking about events predicted thousands of years ago that have direct implications on our current lives. The Bible, one of the oldest and most influential books in history, has been a spiritual guide for millions of people, and its prophecies have sparked both fascination and skepticism. Today, however, I will show you surprising evidence linking current events to biblical prophecies, changing the way you see the world. Let's explore together these 4 prophecies that are coming true in 2024. Get ready to be amazed and perhaps even reevaluate your view on faith and spirituality. It's not just about believing or not, but about observing facts and reflecting on their meaning. Are you ready for this revealing journey? Then stay with me and discover how these events directly impact your life and the future of humanity. The Great Apostasy is a phenomenon that many Bible scholars interpret as the widespread abandonment of faith in Jesus and true spirituality. What we observe is a constant increase in new churches and sects that promise easy and quick paths to salvation but, in reality, divert people from biblical truths. It's intriguing to see how faith can be so easily manipulated, leading many away from the genuine gospel. Imagine a sailor who, in the midst of a storm, decides to follow the stars instead of the safe lighthouse. So are those who abandon faith to follow false doctrines. It's crucial to understand that this apostasy doesn't arise out of nowhere. The scriptures already predicted that, in the last days, many would fall away from the faith by following deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons. The Bible is clear in warning that these false teachers will arise and deceive many, leading them away from the truth. A practical example is the proliferation of movements that preach material prosperity as evidence of divine blessing, distorting Jesus' true message about humility and faith. In our daily lives, it is vital to develop a keen spiritual discernment to identify these false doctrines. This can be achieved through continuous and profound study of the Bible, following spiritual leaders who demonstrate integrity and alignment with Jesus' teachings. Additionally, participating in faith communities that promote authentic spiritual growth can be an effective way to avoid deviation. A good starting point is to read books that explain biblical prophecies, such as The Great Controversy by Ellen G. White, which offers a clear view of end-time events. The growth of churches and sects is a reflection of the human search for quick and convenient answers to deep spiritual questions. Often, people are drawn to promises of instant miracles and easy solutions to their problems, forgetting Jesus' true call for a life of faith and perseverance. As a wise mentor, it's important to remember that true faith is not a shortcut, but a continuous journey of growth and transformation. This apostasy is a test of our fidelity and perseverance. Facing these challenges, we need to remember that the Bible warns us about these difficult times, but also encourages us to remain firm in faith. Every challenge and deviation we encounter should strengthen us and make us seek even more deeply the biblical truths. Jesus never promised an easy journey, but he guaranteed that he would be with us every step of the way. Analyzing the current situation, it's evident that the Great Apostasy is not just a future event, but a present reality. Daily, we are bombarded with information and teachings that, although they seem attractive, do not align with biblical truth. It is in this context that the importance of spiritual discernment becomes even more evident. Faith in Jesus and the understanding of biblical prophecies help us navigate these uncertain times. The most impressive thing is that, even amidst so much apostasy, Jesus' message continues to shine. It reminds us that true faith cannot be shaken by circumstances or false teachers. The Bible is our anchor, and by delving into it, we find the strength and guidance needed to stay firm. Imagine yourself as a lighthouse that, despite the storm, continues to shine, guiding others to the safety of truth. In this scenario of growing apostasy, it's essential that each of us becomes a defender of true faith. This involves not only knowledge of the Scriptures, but also the daily practice of Jesus' teachings in our lives. Faith is strengthened by action, and by living according to biblical principles, we show the world that, despite all the false doctrines and teachers, Jesus' truth remains unshakable. And thus, naturally, we open a path to discuss the emergence of the Antichrist and the challenges he will bring. The emergence of the Antichrist is one of the most discussed and feared biblical prophecies. According to the scriptures, he will be a world leader who will deceive nations with promises of peace and prosperity, but his true purpose will be much darker. This charismatic and persuasive figure will gather followers from all parts of the world, establishing a unified government under his command. He will use his influence to persecute Christians, attempting to destroy faith in Jesus and true spirituality. It's like a wolf in sheep's clothing, approaching stealthily but with malevolent intentions. The Bible warns us about the signs that precede the arrival of the Antichrist, including wars, natural disasters, and a growing lack of faith. These signs are clear indicators that we must be vigilant and prepared. Imagine a community that, upon seeing the first clouds of a storm, rushes to protect their homes and loved ones. So should we be vigilant and ready to face the spiritual challenges that will come. Staying firm in faith and biblical prophecies is essential not to be deceived. One of the most unsettling aspects of the Antichrist is the mark of the beast, the infamous 666, which will be necessary to buy or sell during his reign. This mark will represent an alliance with evil and a total rejection of Jesus. For many, this may seem distant or even fictional, but it's important to remember that the scriptures were clear about these events. It's crucial that we maintain our faith and not succumb to the pressures of the world. A practical example would be staying informed and prepared, studying the Bible and prophecies to understand the times we live in. In daily life, the pressure to conform to the norms imposed by the Antichrist will be immense. People will be forced to choose between their physical needs and their spiritual faith. Imagine a situation where, to ensure your sustenance and that of your family, you need to give up your most sacred principles. The temptation will be great, but the reward for perseverance in faith will be even greater. Jesus promised that those who remain faithful to the end will receive the crown of life, a promise that should encourage us to resist adversities. Throughout history, many have been considered precursors of the Antichrist, leaders who used their influence to divert the masses from biblical truth. Historical examples like Nero and Hitler show how a charismatic leader can lead entire nations to commit atrocities. These examples serve as grim reminders but also as warnings about what is to come. The Bible provides us with the tools to discern these signs and prepare for the future. Studying history and prophecies gives us a broader perspective and helps us to be better prepared. The Antichrist will not operate solely through brute force but will also use intellectual and emotional seduction to attract followers. He will present arguments that will seem logical and appealing but will be deeply rooted in lies. Think of a skilled salesman who, with sweet words, convinces someone to buy a defective product. Thus will be the approach of the Antichrist, offering seemingly perfect solutions to the world's problems but which, in reality, will lead to spiritual destruction. Amidst all this darkness, faith in Jesus and understanding biblical prophecies will be our guiding light. The scriptures teach us that, despite the challenges, we are not alone. God promised to be with us at all times, providing the strength and wisdom needed to resist. A practical example would be forming Bible study and prayer groups, creating a network of mutual support and strengthening. By uniting in faith and understanding, we become stronger against the temptations and deceptions of the Antichrist. Finally, the prophecy about the Antichrist prepares us to understand the importance of vigilance and spiritual preparation. It serves not just as a warning but as a call to action, to arm ourselves with truth and faith. And as we reflect on this dark future, we prepare for the great tribulation that will come, a period of even greater challenges but also divine promises for those who remain faithful. Want to delve deeper into topics like this? Check out our exclusive ebook in the comments. It offers a detailed analysis and spiritual reflections that complement this video. Don't miss out. Download your copy now. The Great Tribulation is described in the Bible as a period of extreme difficulty and suffering that will precede the second coming of Jesus. During these times, the world will face natural disasters, wars, famine, and diseases on an unprecedented scale. Many believe that the tribulation will last 7 years, divided into 2 halves of 3.5 years each. This period will be a definitive test of the faith of Christians, who will need to keep their hope and spirituality intact. It's like an unrelenting storm testing the resilience of a ship at sea. At the beginning of the Great Tribulation, many Christians believe there will be a rapture, where God will take the faithful from earth to spare them from suffering. This belief is based on biblical passages that promise divine protection for the righteous. Imagine being rescued from a building about to collapse. So will the rapture be for those who keep their faith in Jesus. However, for those who remain, the tribulation will be a period of purification and preparation for the second coming of Christ. During the Great Tribulation, natural disasters will be devastating. Earthquakes, floods, volcanic eruptions, and other disasters will occur with alarming frequency. These events will serve as signs of imminent divine intervention. It is important for Christians to interpret these signs in light of biblical prophecies, remaining firm in faith and spirituality. A practical example would be physical and spiritual preparation for these difficult times, stocking up on essential supplies and strengthening the faith community through prayer and Bible study. Wars and armed conflicts will also be a hallmark of this period. Nations will rise against nations, and political chaos will be widespread. The Bible mentions that the Antichrist will play a significant role in these conflicts, trying to consolidate his global power. Imagine a scenario where the world order is dismantled and uncertainty reigns. In this context, faith in Jesus and understanding biblical prophecies will be vital to navigating these turbulent times. Maintaining hope and helping those in need will be essential actions for Christians. Famine will be another severe trial during the Great Tribulation. The scarcity of food will result in suffering and despair for many. However, the Bible teaches that God will take care of his faithful, just as he provided manna for the Israelites in the desert. A practical example would be the creation of community gardens and the sharing of resources among community members. These acts of solidarity and compassion will not only alleviate immediate suffering but also strengthen faith and spirituality among Christians. In addition to natural disasters and wars, diseases and plagues will spread rapidly during the Great Tribulation. Devastating epidemics will arise, challenging health systems and causing global panic. However, the Bible promises that those who keep their faith in Jesus will be protected. A practical example would be implementing hygiene and health practices based on biblical principles, as well as trusting in divine providence. Prayer and meditation on God's Word will serve as a balm for the spirit amidst the chaos. The Great Tribulation will be a time of purification and testing for Christians. Those who persevere in faith will be rewarded with the eternal presence of Jesus in his kingdom. This period, despite being a time of suffering, will also be an opportunity to demonstrate the strength of faith and the truth of biblical prophecies. Imagine an athlete who, after rigorous and painful training, finally achieves victory. So it will be for Christians who remain firm during the tribulation. Finally, the Great Tribulation prepares us for the glorious second coming of Jesus Christ. After this period of intense suffering, Jesus will return with power and glory, defeating the Antichrist and establishing his kingdom of peace and justice. This event will be the culmination of biblical prophecies and the fulfillment of Christian hope. And thus, we begin to reflect on this glorious coming and what it will mean for all who kept their unwavering faith during the times of tribulation. The second coming of Jesus Christ is one of the most anticipated events by Christians worldwide. According to the Bible, after the Great Tribulation, Jesus will return with power and glory to establish his kingdom of peace and justice on earth. This event will mark the end of the Antichrist's reign and the beginning of a new era. Imagine a bright light breaking through the deepest darkness, bringing hope and renewal. So will be the second coming of Jesus, a moment of triumph for faith and spirituality. During the second coming, Jesus will appear in the skies in a visible and undeniable manner. The scriptures describe that every eye will see him and recognize his majesty. It will be a moment of great reverence and worship. Think of a charismatic leader who, after a long absence, returns to restore order and justice. This return will be much more glorious and significant, as it will be the fulfillment of biblical prophecies and the answer to the prayers of the faithful. The defeat of the Antichrist will be one of the most significant events during the second coming. Jesus, with his divine power, will overcome all the forces of evil that tormented the earth during the Great Tribulation. This act of divine justice will bring relief and joy to the hearts of Christians. It's like the final victory of a hero who, after an epic battle, restores peace and order. This triumph will reinforce the faith of believers and demonstrate the truth of biblical prophecies. In addition to defeating the Antichrist, Jesus will establish his kingdom of peace and justice. This new kingdom will be characterized by the absence of suffering, pain, and injustice. Imagine a world where harmony and goodness prevail, where all people live in peace and prosperity. This will be Jesus' kingdom, a place where faith and spirituality flourish and where biblical prophecies are fully realized. It will be a time of renewal and restoration for all creation. The second coming of Jesus will also bring the resurrection of the dead. Those who died in Christ will be resurrected to eternal life, receiving new glorified bodies. This event is described in the Bible as a moment of great celebration and joy. Think of emotional reunions with loved ones who have passed away, in an environment of peace and eternal happiness. This will be the final destiny of the faithful, a reward for their perseverance in faith and loyalty to biblical prophecies. During the establishment of his kingdom, Jesus will judge all nations. This judgment will be based on divine justice, rewarding the righteous and punishing the wicked. Imagine a perfect court where every action and intention is evaluated with precision and fairness. This judgment will bring the final and complete justice, reaffirming the truth of the Scriptures and the power of Jesus. It will be a moment of reflection and recognition of the importance of faith and spirituality in our lives. The second coming of Jesus will also be a time of renewal for the earth. Creation will be restored to its original condition of beauty and perfection. Think of a lush garden that, after years of neglect, is finally cared for and revitalized. This process of renewal will be a testimony to the power and love of God, bringing new hopes to humanity. Biblical prophecies will be fulfilled, and faith in Jesus will be the key to participating in this new era. Finally, the second coming of Jesus Christ calls us to reflect on the importance of keeping our faith and spirituality alive, even amid tribulations. This grand event will be the culmination of all biblical prophecies and the fulfillment of Christian hope. And so, we prepare to live in a transformed world, guided by the light and love of Jesus, awaiting the promised eternity. Now that you know the 4 biblical prophecies coming true in 2024, it's time to reflect on what this means for your life. These revelations are not just historical curiosities, but urgent calls for personal and spiritual transformation. Are you prepared to face these changes and live according to the faith and spirituality that Jesus taught us? Think about your life today. How can you apply this knowledge in your daily life? Maybe it's time to strengthen your faith, participate more actively in your religious community, or even study the Bible more deeply. Ask yourself, how can I be more prepared for the challenges to come? And more importantly, how can I help others find the same peace and clarity that faith in Jesus provides? If this video touched your heart and you want to continue exploring these and other biblical prophecies, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new content. Here, we continue to bring valuable insights about faith, the Bible, and spirituality. Together, we can better understand the signs of the times and prepare for a future full of hope and purpose. So, are you ready for this journey of faith and discoveries? Leave your comment below and share your opinions and questions. Let's grow together on this spiritual journey. How about starting right now? Subscribe and become part of this community dedicated to understanding and living the biblical truths deeply and meaningfully.